Welcome to Sociolinguistics. Today you're going to read about words and culture. Super interesting topics. They are super short and they are very, very interesting. Everything related to words and culture. Okay, so we're going to start. This is the textbook that you're going to use. You will find it in the material section. It's called An Introduction to Sociolinguistics. This is chapter 9, and it has many different topics because it's short. They are short topics. We're going to cover the ones that are in yellow here, but not taboo and euphemism because we covered that in semantics last year. All right. So we're going to start with Whorf, Whorfian Hypothesis. Remember in Linguistics 1, I talked to you about Benjamin Lee Whorf. Then we will go into kinship systems, taxonomies, color, and prototypes. All right. So let me exemplify it a little bit. This is Benjamin Lee Whorf. He was a student of Edward Sapir, a very famous sociologist. And this guy, Benjamin Lee Whorf, he studied culture and language, but from within, like inside. He went to live with these communities in order to do his research. So super interesting his theory about which influences on what. Is it language influencing on society or society influencing on language or both of them at the same time? He also says that language acts as blinkers so that it limits your view of the world, all right? Or it enlarges it the more languages you know or the more cultures you know. Then we will go into kinship systems. Kinship systems have to do with terms that are related to family or blood types. Kin in English has to do with blood. Okay, so blood type um, terms, terminologies. And you will find out that in different languages, different kinship terms are used. Okay? For example, Chinese is one of the most complicated kinship systems that I know. And they have a term for each member of the family in every single relationship. Super, super weird. Okay? English is easier, I think. Then we will go into taxonomies. Taxonomies means classification, and it has to do with the fact that different societies, different communities, speech communities, use different languages or different ways of classifying things. All right. For example, we always see as a tomato as a vegetable, but it's actually a fruit, for example. Yes. So which definition goes into, or which criteria do we use to classify things or objects, right? We know the term vegetable and the terms cabbage, spinach, etc., but not greens, pulses, roots, and tubers as scientists classify them. So taxonomies, classification words. Then we will go into color terminology. Color terminology has to do is a research that has been done in different languages, and they found out that communities that are underdeveloped, like they don't have much technology or internet or whatever, they have less color terms. Super interesting, yes? The more developed the society is, the more color terms they have. Amazing. And which is the minimum amount of color terms that a language could have, for example? Read the textbook. Super, super interesting. For example, I think before there was no difference between blue and green in Guarani, and now there is. Something like that. Yes? And then there are these fashion designers that keep creating new color terms like verde aceituna or verde pastel or whatever. Okay, so thousands of terms related to colors. Finally, we'll go into prototype theory. A prototype is the most common or most typical instance of something. For example, if I say fruit, probably you have thought of an apple. You didn't think of a kiwi, probably, right? So the most typical one that comes to your mind has to do with that term. And this is research that has been done. Okay? So notice this, for example, when they compare words related to a cow, the one that is most typical would be moo in order to relate that sound to a cow, for example. Okay? So lots of reading to do. They are super short, and there are two tasks that I need you to do related to these topics. So enjoy your reading and enjoy doing the task too, because this is research and it's fascinating. See you soon. Goodbye.